Hello everybody and welcome back to my Roblox how-to series on everything that you need to know about how to make Roblox games. So today is a very special episode because it's going to be our first project. And what exactly are we going to be doing? Well, we're going to make a wall that collapses when you step in front of it using the knowledge of our previous episodes on this series. Now, if you haven't seen the other videos in this series and you're new to this channel, first of all, hello. Second, I will leave the playlist up here so that you can go watch the other videos and learn about how to do all this kind of stuff and know what it all means. So, let's get started. First things first, we need to make our wall. So, let's first let's get a model. Models, I don't think I've talked about models. It's essentially just a group. It's a way to group things together. So if I had a ton of parts in here, it's all a group. Like this. So let me get rid of those. And let's insert a part into our model and call it collapsing wall. Call that our model. And then this part right here, we'll make it our floor. And then let's also add a folder. This will be important later. We'll call it wall. So this is where we'll put all the parts for our wall. And then this will just have our floor. So let's make our floor real quick, like this. And then to get the collapsing effect, what we're going to do is we're going to make the wall with a ton of separate pieces that look like one piece. So we're not just going to make a wall that's like this. No, we're going to make it out of a ton of smaller little pieces. So let me do that real quick. Alright, so I've got our wall here, and I'll even color it so that it looks nice and cool, like a gray or something like that. And then maybe make the floor just a tiny bit darker, like that. And make sure you do this before we start running the game and testing. Anchor your parts. Don't be a dingus like me and not anchor your parts, because that'll just cause problems later. So now that we have our wall built, let's add a script inside of our floor part, and we can get rid of hello world. Let's make some variables real quick. So variable is local. So let's make our floor a variable. Local floor equals script.parent. So the script's parent is floor. Let's tell the script what this wall folder is right here. Local wall equals floor.parent.wall. So if that just confused you, this is floor, this is its parent, and then inside of its parent we got wall. So we got our wall there, and I'm pretty sure that's all the variables we need for the moment. We need to detect to see when our part is touched. So floor dot touched :connect function. And then we need to put in a variable here, because if you look here on the little hint, it says function other part base part. So it has a built-in parameter set based on the event which is touched. So this parameter right here is basically what being what touches our floor. I'm screwing up my words today. I'm sorry. But this is what touches floor. So we need to detect to see whether what touches it is a player. So let me explain how we're going to do this. So if I pull up the toolbox real quick and I get a dummy, like this, every player has this unique thing inside of them called a humanoid right here. And that's what will basically tell the game whether it's a player or not. So we'll check to see whether what touches it has a humanoid or not. So when a player goes over here and they touch this part right here, what ends up happening is it'll have one of these limbs touch it. So we need to see if its parent, which is the group it's in, dummy, has a humanoid inside of it. So the thing that touches it, which is part, which will be one of these, its parent being dummy right here, colon, find first child, humanoid. I spelled that wrong. Humanoid. The reason why we don't just do part.parent.humanoid is because there might be an instance where we have something touch it, and then we find its parent, and then we just do .humanoid, and by not saying find first child, it'll immediately say to the script, yeah, there is a humanoid in this, but there actually isn't. So it throws an error message saying, hey, you told me this was in here, but it's not here. What are you doing? So we have to use find first child because that just says if you can find it, try and find it, and if it's not there, it's cool, but if you find it, cool. So you need to put this in an if statement. If part.parent colon find first child humanoid do there. So I don't know why I put two N's. We need to put then, not do. My bad. So we have this now. And after that, we have to tell it to, collapse the wall and make it fall into a billion pieces. So if you watch the previous videos, you might know we can use a for loop to do this. So for IV in pairs do. Now what are we going to put inside of our pairs? Well, we're going to put wall colon get children. For IV in pairs. My bad. Yeah, for IV in pairs, wall colon get children do. So we'll cycle through this wall folder and do something to every single one of those parts inside of it, so that we don't have to say wall.part.anchored equals false, wall.part.anchored equals false, and just keep writing that same thing over and over and over again. We can do it just in 3 lines instead of 80 or something like that. So V, which will be the element that it's on currently, in this case it's all just parts, dot anchored equals false. So essentially this code will just cycle through every single one of those, and when it gets to a part, it'll tell it you're no longer anchored, you're no longer anchored, you're no longer anchored, that kind of thing. So that should be the base part of our script done. So if we go into game here and we step on it, then it all falls apart, and none of it's anchored, and I can move this around, and it's all affected by gravity, which is pretty cool. Now, let's say we didn't want these parts to hang around forever and just roll on the ground. Let's say we wanted them to leave at a certain point and go away. What we could do, which is pretty funny looking, make sure it's inside of this if statement, by the way. So let's wait 5 seconds, so we'll have the wall stay in existence for that long. And then we'll set up the for loop, again, just like this. But instead of anchored, we'll use can collide, so that it'll make all of these parts fall through the worlds and, well, yeah, just not exist anymore, because then they'll go through the base plate and they'll keep falling until they reach the point of the death limit in the void, and they'll just get deleted. And then also, one funny thing we could also do with it is we can make it do it sequentially, so it doesn't do all the parts at once, but it does them one by one. So one falls in another, then another, then another. So we can add a wait statement so that it waits this much time. I'm going to put it at 0.3. It waits 0.3 seconds every single time it turns off the collision for something. So let's hit play. And let's test it out. So it falls apart, and we wait for 5 seconds, and then they'll start falling through the world. Yeah, there we go. And now they're all falling through the world, and it's gone. And if we also look inside of our collapsing wall, you can see that it's empty. There's no longer anything in there, and they've been deleted, and they've gone into the void. So essentially, that's it. That's everything we need to do in order to make a functioning wall that cleans up its mess. And this is not the end of the series, by the way. I will continue this, and I'll get into a ton of different things about scripting that are even more advanced than what we've been doing, so I can expand your knowledge, and you can start to make functioning Roblox games eventually. I hope you liked this video. If you did, subscribe if it helped you to learn something new. And comment suggestions on more things that I should do, because I do take viewer suggestions. So far, I've made 2 videos on GUIs, everything you need to know about those, and also how to put text onto parts, which I'll put here on the end screen right now. So yeah, comment your suggestions, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.